All right, some news just came down from Dennis Lin and Britt Droley of The Athletic. Phil Nevin was interviewed by the San Diego Padres yesterday, Wednesday. AJ Preller was at the GM meeting, so I don't know if Phil Nevin met AJ Preller in Arizona and they talked, or it was over Zoom or something. AJ Preller loves Zooms, as we know. But this is another guy that was added. We knew that Phil Nevin's name was part of the conversation here. We just didn't know if he was actually still going to be in the manager race, because we heard his name, I think in the same article that Eric Chavez was mentioned, or the same tweet, I think it was by Dennis Lin, like a week ago, maybe a little more than a week ago. And then Eric Chavez was ruled out of it in a clarifying tweet. And then we didn't really hear about Phil Nevin after that. So right now we've got Phil Nevin, Ryan Flaherty, Mike Shildt, and Benji Gill. Those are the four that we know have talked with the Padres, and I think that these are the four guys that are under consideration. I think David Ross should be under consideration. Kevin Acee reported yesterday that the Padres are considering talking to David Ross, and my viewpoint on that is, if you're considering talking to David Ross, go talk to David Ross. Why are you considering talking to him? It doesn't hurt to go talk to David Ross. So I think he should be added in there. Personally, I don't know a ton about Phil Nevin and him managing. I wasn't watching every Los Angeles Angels game, but what I do know is he had to take over for Joe Maddon, who was let go a couple years ago in the middle of the year. So maybe that wasn't the fairest thing. He maybe wasn't set up for success. And then the next year, the Angels were in a playoff spot, and then a bunch of injuries happened. Mike Trout gets hurt. Shohei Ohtani was dealing with, I think, a blister or fingernail issue. And then obviously later in the year, he was hurting, and now he has to have surgery, and he's not going to be able to pitch for this next season. Anthony Rendon got hurt. Like, he had guided the Angels to postseason contention in the middle of the season, and then a bunch of injuries happened. So, I don't know, kind of like David Ross, was he given the fairest shot to have success as he was a manager? I'm not so sure about that. But right now, I would still go with Shildt or Flaherty as the manager. I'd love to have Phil Nevin be on the coaching staff. When we talk about urgency, not letting things slide, it sure feels like Phil Nevin would be a good guy to have in this organization and be a coach on this coaching staff. But I guess it's a question of what are the opportunities that he will have around Major League Baseball if he's not the manager of the Padres. Will the Yankees want him back as a base coach? Will another team give him a higher position that the Padres won't give him? Phil Nevin, obviously former Padres, so there's that tie there. Benji Gill grew up in the area. Mike Shildt, Ryan Flaherty in the organization. David Ross briefly played for the Padres. So there's connections to all of these guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Let me know in the comments, who do you want as manager? Would you like Phil Nevin as the manager? Do you want him on the coaching staff? Didn't make the postseason, obviously, as the Angels manager. But again, was he in the best position? Was he put in the best position to go be a postseason manager, to go make the postseason in that brief time that he was the manager of the Los Angeles Angels? He has coaching experience. I believe he has minor league managing experience. Yankees coach. He's obviously been in a big environment there. He was, I believe, the third base coach for the San Francisco Giants. Obviously, he was a coach under Joe Maddon with the Angels, then had some managing experience with the Angels. So he's got a lot of experience. He's got a lot of playing experience. Would he get respect from the players? I think the answer is yes to that. Now, they might not be super comfortable with him right out of the gate because he hasn't been in this Padres organization. And how would he do with AJ Preller? I have some doubts about that. And maybe that's just me looking at Phil Nevin's ejections and seeing how pissed off he gets. But I just feel like maybe they wouldn't connect super well, or Phil Nevin wouldn't know a ton. He wouldn't know fully what he's getting himself into with AJ Preller, like maybe Mike Shildt does know, Ryan Flaherty does know. But Gill and Nevin, obviously, they were on the same coaching staff. So they're familiar with one another. So maybe if Preller hires one of them as the manager, that other guy will be like, heck yeah, I want to join this staff. And maybe that's a plus for the Padres. And then Flaherty, no one's going and trying to go get Ryan Flaherty right now, right? So maybe Flaherty stays. Same thing with Mike Shildt. Maybe Mike Shildt stays. So maybe they end up hiring an Angels guy to be the manager. and the other Angels guy will stay, and those other guys will stay as well. Not saying that's going to happen, but that's just an idea that I throw out there. But yeah, interesting. Again, Dennis Lin, Britt Giroli reporting. Phil Nevin interviewed with the Padres yesterday. We'll see how this progresses. Don't know if David Ross is going to get an interview, and we could have a decision on this Padres manager job, this vacancy, by early next week.